And here is Mike Nowak.
And now to a man who's not afraid to tell you what you need to do to keep the planet he lives on clean.
Take your food scraps out to your compost pile. Screw in a compact fluorescent light bulb. Turn on a window fan instead of an air conditioner. Low flow, baby. Shower heads and toilets. Take one napkin at Starbucks instead of 6.
Mike Nowak.
Welcome to another installment of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Environmental Report. I'm Mike Nowak, and you can hear me live each Sunday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Central Time on Q4 Radio, which streams at www.QUE4.org. You can also get my podcasts online at MikeNowak.net. Now, unless you've been hiding under a rock, like a roly-poly, you know that the last decade has not been particularly kind to our honeybees. Something that was originally called colony collapse disorder, or CCD, has now seemed to morph into a chronic problem where each spring we hold our collective breath and wait to see how many bees made it through the winter. This year, we barely had time to exhale when we were told that American beekeepers lost about 44% of their colonies between April of 2015 and April of 2016, given that beekeepers collectively say that they can successfully sustain roughly an 18 or 19% loss and stay in business, and given that pollination is responsible for about $15 billion with a B dollars of our food economy, this cannot be a good development. It's important to note that we're talking about managed colonies of European honeybees. Those bees, or Apis mellifera, are not native to North America. As for native bees and pollinators, we really can't say how they're doing because we don't really have any numbers about those insects. We know they're out there, bumblebees and mason bees and the roughly 4,000 native North American bees, but because they're not in managed colonies like Apis mellifera, we don't have numbers, which, as I can tell you, makes bee counters, a little nervous. Meanwhile, why exactly are we losing our honeybees? If you come up with the answer, you might make a lot of money. I've been talking to scientists and beekeepers for about a decade now, and most of them agree that persistent exposure to pesticides plays a role in this disturbing trend. However, they will also tell you that there are other factors, such as uneven nutrition, parasites like the varroa mite, viruses, and other factors that have a cumulative effect on bees. And yet, I continue to have emails drop into my inbox from organizations that proclaim breathlessly that they have the smoking gun. It's usually a class of pesticides called neonicotinoids, which have achieved notoriety because of their widespread use on commodity crops. However, they are also used in home landscapes, and that's where a new study comes in. The Purdue University study just published in the journal Nature Communications is cause for many of us to look in the mirror. Researchers collected pollen from Indiana honeybee hives at 3 sites over 16 weeks to learn which pollen sources honeybees use throughout the season and whether they are contaminated with pesticides. What they found was disturbing. It turns out that even if the hives were near crop fields, the bees foraging took them to other places as well. And scientists were able to identify residues in the pollen from about 32 different pesticides spanning 9 chemical classes, including neonicotinoids, so farmers are not off the hook. But the highest concentrations of pesticides in bee pollen were pyrethroids, which are typically used to control mosquitoes and other nuisance pests in households. Guess what? That's you and me. Well, maybe you, because I don't spray anything ever. But a lot of you think that you have to wipe out mosquitoes and hornets and grubs, so you reach for whatever is on the shelves of the big box stores or the local garden centers. And guess who pays for it? Yep, our bees. This is just one peer-reviewed study, but it's a good reason to look in the mirror when you start blaming everybody else around you for the demise of our honeybees. Most of you probably don't remember the great comic strip Pogo, but at one point, the main character, Pogo, sagely quipped, "We have met the enemy, and he is us." That's the state of our environment today. I hope you catch the Mike Nowak Show on Q4 Radio. And by the way, Q4 is now streaming live on Facebook. So you can catch me Sunday mornings between 9 and 11 a.m. by going to Facebook and Q4 Radio, which is QUE4 Radio. I hope you join me then. You can also go to my website, MikeNovak.net. Go green or go home.